Hi folks, it's the morning after the night before as Celtic put in certainly one of their best displays of an already impressive season as they tanked St Johnstone 6-0 up in Perth. This is Tino with the Final Whistle Show, joined here for a debut on the Celtic Exchange by Greg Harvey. Greg, welcome to the show. What was your initial reaction to last night's result?
Thanks very much, Tino. Thanks for having us on the show. It's been absolutely long overdue, I think, hasn't it? It's been a few times we've tried to go on. Brilliant performance. Horrible kick-off time, considering we played in Dortmund on Tuesday night. But I thought it was a credible performance. 5 different scorers, clean sheet, sets up absolutely perfectly for Tuesday night. Thoroughly impressive stuff.
You say horrible kick-off time, is it not bang on perfect kick-off time for a guy like you that likes to go for a jar for a game?
Well, I think it was your brother and Paddy who were having a good time last night, who I met in the pub. But yeah, when you look ahead and you see that kick-off time, you obviously think it's good for the social reason. But for the players, it's not a good kick-off time to have whatsoever. But they handled it magnificently, didn't they?
They did. And then you consider, I had this debate with Brido in the pre-match, but you consider that Dortmund, they've kicked off on Friday night, so they've got full day Saturday, full day Sunday, full day Monday before the game on Tuesday. So I don't know, it's a bigger debate for a different show, but it doesn't help Celtic to have to travel to Perth and then do what they do. But listen, I don't think the players at this moment in time would seem bothered, Greg. I think every time they take to the park, there's a real confidence about them, and I think they're just thriving on every occasion they get to perform, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Callum McGregor said that post-match, the players were so focused in that game. As you kind of touched on there, you think they would get a bit of help from the Scottish FA and maybe move that kick off, but they don't let it bother them. They're very, very focused just now, and there's a total calmness about this team just now that they just seem so assured. The manager seems assured, and he's getting that across to the players as well. And I think that was very, very prevalent in the post-match comments after the game.
Yeah. I don't quite know where to start with the 6 goals. There's a lot to cover. There's, I think, a very
There is.
decent display from Austin Trusty, Dizer Maeda doing
Yep.
his thing, and
Yep.
various other bits into the bargain. But let's just start with the lineup. Obviously, last time out against Falkirk, Brendan Rodgers makes 8 changes, and by his own admission, it disrupts the flow. You know, and to be expected. You've brought guys in out the cold, and it's not quite clicked. Certainly for the first, 60 minutes against Falkirk. What did you think
Yeah,
of the start?
absolutely.
And Bernardo gets his nod, and I think it's long overdue.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think obviously we knew Trusty was going to come in. I thought Trusty did really well. I think the rest of the back four kind of picks itself just now with Vickers carrying an injury. I hope he's okay to go for Tuesday night. But back four, yeah, as you would think it would be. We've got a lovely problem in the middle of the park just now, as been touched on in previous episodes, where we've got 4 quality midfielders. For me, McGregor and Engels are going to play pretty much every game. And you're kind of almost rotating between Hatate and Bernardo. And what a lovely problem to have because they're both absolutely class. Bernardo comes in, you're happy with that. Made on the left. Nicholas Kuhn is absolutely flying just now and is at the heart of everything brilliant we do. And obviously Kyogo up top. So no, I was happy with the starting lineups. As I say, it was an important game. It was a sticky game with one eye possibly in Dortmund. So it was a strong lineup, and as you say, I was happy to see Bernardo to come in, to be honest, and obviously chip in with a goal as well. So yeah, I thought the lineup was spot on, to be honest. And as you say, you alluded to, Rodgers kind of mentioned that after the Falkirk game, there was too many changes, and I think a lot of people were talking about Trusty last week. You have to only judge him on last night's basis, not on a complete makeshift back four like last week. So yeah, I was chuffed with the lineup. I thought it was a very strong starting 11.
Yeah, and I think the same applies to Alex Bailly. You know, it's hard to judge him when he's thrown in amongst 7 others to get that start against Falkirk. He showed some really good stuff, and we'll get to the goal number 6 later on. Just
We'll
a quick
get to that now.
we put an article out last week about one of the lines we used was the fact that it's hard to know what Celtic player to get most excited about just now. You've mentioned Nicholas Kuhn, Arne Engels record signing, Callum McGregor's ticking along, Alistair Johnston's been great. If you could pick just one guy just now, who's the main man for you right now for Celtic?
What a horrible question, Tino, to give me. I'm between 2, but I mean, for me, Arne Engels is just different class. He is only going to get better and better. He looks an absolute grade above. However, right now at this present time, for me, it's Nicholas Kuhn. He's involved in absolutely everything we do. He's added so much to his game this season compared to where he was last year. He's cutting back, he's crossing the ball in, he's going to the byline, he's passed round the corner for Johnson last night that I think Celtic ended up getting the corner out of. It's just class. So everything good that Celtic are doing just now is coming from Kuhn. So I'd say he's the one just now. But I think Arnie Engels, I think, is going to come really, really good. He looks a class act, to be honest, you know.
And the two very nearly linked up. Engels made the reverse pass fairly late in the game. Kuhn was through on goal, and I thought he was just going to clip it over the goalie like he did last week. It was a great save, actually. There's a graphic doing the rounds as well. I'll share this on our Twitter later on, but it's basically a list. I'm just going to show you. Can people see that? It's a list of all Nicholas Kuhn's assists and goals since he started the season. I think he scored 4 goals, something like 7 or 8 assists. He's absolutely flying, and I think he's great to see. And actually, I think at 11 million, Arnie Engels might be a bargain, but we'll see how he goes as things move forward. Let's get to the goals. As I say, there's a lot to cover. The first one is lightning reactions from Kyogo, isn't it? But you need to give Liam Scales credit, first of all. Big, powerful header. And Scales has been great. You know, we won't dwell on it too much. He's not had too much to do last night, but he's been excellent. You know, regardless what you think, should be improved moving forward. He's been solid for Celtic, and he wins a powerful header, and eventually it breaks through to Kyogo after Nicholas Kuhn reacts well. Kyogo's through on goal, Greg, but he's still about, 40-odd yards out. A bit of work to do. The ball's bouncing about, but the finish is class.
Hit the nail on the head. The ball is bouncing about, and when I watched the highlights again this morning, it takes one in the knee, takes a second one in the knee, and it's an awkward one. It's one of those ones he can put over the bar or put wide, but he takes it so well. But again, going back to that man Kuhn, it's so clever, and the header's perfectly timed, and the willingness to go and make that header through. It's a really, really clever goal. And again, it comes from this idea that Brendan Rodgers keeps on going on about this counter press and getting the ball back as soon as possible, and that's where the first goal comes from. The pressing, I think, is McGregor, ricochets back, and obviously a lovely header through and goal. But really, really smart finish. Really smart finish.
From Kyogo's point of view, again, I should really check these stats before coming on, Greg, but the stat, I think, was that he hadn't scored an away goal in the league since October, which is incredible to think. He's such a frequent scorer. He did score away at St Mirren, I think, in the Scottish Cup, January, February time. But in terms of league stuff, that's quite an incredible stat for a guy that scores so many goals, but he scores so many important goals for Celtic. He's now got 3 Champions League goals. He's got numerous goals against Rangers, and he gets that one last night to get the ball rolling. The next goal, again, it's a really good team goal. You know, we start at the back. There's really good build-up. Eventually makes its way to Nicholas Kuhn on the right-hand side. He clips it into Kyogo, and Kyogo's not just goals. He's got the savvy just to drop it off to Bernardo, who's, 20-odd yards out. And when you see the view, I'm sure you've seen the angle from behind Bernardo, the technique just to tuck it away is something else, and he's definitely merited his slot in that starting lineup, hasn't he?
Absolutely. I know everybody will go on about the 6th goal, but I thought the second goal last night was just from where it started and where it finished, the clip ball in, the wee layoff. The layoff's absolutely class, and Bernardo just uses a defender just to kind of block the goalkeeper a wee bit and just send it down. It's a fantastic goal. Really, really good from start to finish, and it's just the break up the pitch at the moment. When Celtic do that free-flowing movement, teams just cannot live with it. They really can't. So, yeah, I thought it was a magnificent goal, to be honest, you know.
Yeah, comment from Dan Breenan. Thanks to everyone who comments. San Fran, Nick McDade, Snitch, 420. Lots of good comments coming in. But Dan says what I think a lot of us are thinking, that for him, Bernardo's got to be a starter. I was talking, as I say, to Brido on Friday, Greg, and I said that if I was really pushed on it, my starting 3 midfield-wise for Celtic is Callum McGregor, Arnie Engels, and Rio Hatate. I'm a massive Rio Hatate fan, but you've got to be in on form and in on merit. And at the moment, there's no complaints for me about Bernardo. I'm going to ask you another toughie. Who is your 3? If Celtic are in the Cup final tomorrow, let's say it's a European Cup final, the Champions League final, who's your starting 3?
Only dreamer. Can't believe I'm going to say this as well, because I'm the same as you. I'm a massive Hatate fan, but I can't believe we're actually saying at this point that he probably sits out that midfield 3. It's quite incredible to show the strength and depth we've got in there, but on what Bernardo's done this season, it has to be in merit for me. And again, can't believe I'm saying it. I feel terrible saying it. I love Hatate, but I think out of the 4, Bernardo, Engels, and McGregor's got to be, if there's a cup final tomorrow, that's got to be your midfield 3.
You say the 4, and you're right mostly. But San Fran's asked about Luke McCowan, and I think he's done very little wrong. He's not had a lot of game time, but he's chipping in with certainly.
Very unlucky not to get a goal last night.
He was fizzing. Did you see? Were you lip reading when he missed that one? He wasn't happy with his hitting the post, but he's heavily involved in the 6th goal, and at the moment he's got work to do to nudge any of those 4 you mentioned out the starting 11. But he's certainly, doing himself no harm with what he's been putting in so far.
You're absolutely right. Shrewd bit of business actually getting him in. When he came in, I hadn't seen much of him, to be honest. But he looks really composed in the ball. His wee pass for the 6th goal, as you say, really clever. Got his goal against Hearts, similar position last night actually, except he went for the inside post and was a bit unlucky not to get his goal. But yeah, I think he'll come in. I think he'll get his opportunities, but to try and get one of those other players out that centre mid area is going to be very, very difficult for him. But fair play to him, he's come in and looked really, really well when he's played.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks to San Fran, to Scott, to Nick, to everyone that's making comments at this moment in time. We'll be on for another 20 minutes from now, myself and Greg. So if you have any comments or questions between now and the end of the show, let us know and we'll try our very best to get through them. The third goal, Greg, again, it's just a really good team goal. You might have heard, I don't know if you could hear it in the pub, maybe too loud for you, but you might have heard Brendan Rodgers speaking to Charlie Mulgrew, and I think it was Alan Hutton.
Yeah, seen it this morning.
Yep, and they were talking about the variety in Celtic's play. It wasn't just about going out wide to the wingers or even going through the middle. Sometimes it was going over the top, and there's such variety in Celtic's attacking play just now that. And listen, I fully appreciate. We enjoyed last night. We're getting excited about it, but I fully appreciate that St Johnstone are limited at this moment in time. And the real test, the acid test, is on Tuesday at Dortmund, amongst some others that we'll face in the weeks and months ahead. But you can only play what's in front of you, and at this moment in time, there's a real variety and range in how Celtic are attacking teams.
No, you're absolutely right. It's that wee clip ball over the top. McGregor had won it 0-0. He played into Kyogo, and I thought Kyogo could actually done a wee bit better. But the wee clip ball that we didn't really see last season when teams were sitting very, very deep and playing that low block, but they're playing that, they're trying to get overloads wide. Rodgers always talks about this 2v1 or 3v1, whether they're creating that in the middle of the park or out wide. Something I've noticed in the last few weeks, Tino, is just the options in the ball. Anytime one of our players has a ball, there's always 2 or 3 options, and that's a total difference from last year. And it's great to see. I think when Taylor had the ball, I think it's the second goal, there's so many options to play into. McGregor and I think it's Bernardo are standing about 10, 15 yards of space. And that's not just by fluke, that's been worked on in the training ground. And then, as you say, the ball's going wide for overloads or crosses into the box. So, yeah, teams are really, really struggling to deal with Celtic and the different ways we're attacking. It's really good to see, really refreshing and good to see.
And I think that only comes about through real hard work off the ball. Everyone watches the guy on the ball, and of course that's important in terms of what he does, but it's everything around it. As you say, when Greg Taylor gets the ball, he's got Maeda up in front of him, he's got McGregor inside, he's got Scales and Trusty waiting for a pass, he's got various other options available to him, and that all comes from all that work that guys are doing off the ball. And it's epitomised actually by the third goal. Taylor's involved, certainly. It starts down that right-hand side. I really love the partnership that we're seeing between Alistair Johnston and Nicholas Kuhn. They link up very well. There's clearly a connection with those two. And then eventually it makes its way out to Daiz Maeda. And it's similar in ways to Kyogo's drop off to Bernardo. Yeah. He drops it back to Greg Taylor, who just sees the opportunity and clips it into a good area. Again, if you watch the replay on Kyogo's movement, he's offside, and he just jukes back at the last minute. He's right on the line. You'll have seen the lines. It was very, very close, but he is onside. And it's just a perfectly diverted header. And we're cooking my gas at that point, 3-0 half-time.
Absolutely. I know, to think at 35 minutes it was still 0-0. I was thinking just 1 before half-time, but to get to 3 was incredible. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I thought the ball in by Greg Taylor was magnificent. I thought he played excellent again last night. He's been really, really good for weeks. I know he only played half the game, but his wee clip ball in, Kyogo doesn't really need to do that much with the header, just because of the pace and the spin in the ball. And the wee layoff by Maeda as well, very similar to Kyogo's for Bernardo's goal. And as you say, it's just that we drop in, layoff, and then the clip ball in, and the timing of the run's absolute perfection. And yeah, brilliant from Kyogo.
There's a question just from Stuart Miller. He's asking, wonder what happened to Taylor at half time. I'm hoping it's just precaution. We've not heard anything otherwise. I don't know if Brendan Rodgers was asked directly. I've certainly not seen any headlines. I really like Baye. I like what he's brought to the party. But at this moment in time, I think Greg Taylor's the man in the shirt. It wouldn't be, I was going to say, it wouldn't be a disaster if he didn't start. But you want Greg Taylor to be fit and available. What do you think? He's responded well with the challenge that Baye's brought in.
Yeah, he's been incredible, and I think he's still first choice left back. I'm the same as you. I think Baye's got. I'm excited by that. I think through more games he'll get better and better. But right now, you just can't take Greg Taylor out that left back slot. And I think you're right. I think it's probably a precaution. I hope he wasn't carrying anything. we were all saying at half time, right, get the subs on, get people rested. So I'm hoping it's just precautionary and he'll be okay to go for Tuesday night. But yeah, I thought Bailly done well when he came on, and good replacement to have, isn't it? And that's again going in the strength and depth of the squad just now. You can bring players in and they'll just slot in nicely.
It's a massive difference to what we've had before. I've spoken frequently about during Ange's time. At times in Europe, you look to the bench and there's a couple of kids, a couple of guys that just clearly weren't ready. And I think just now, Brendan Rodgers, case in point here with Taylor. Yeah, it wouldn't be ideal if Taylor's not around, but Bailly would do a decent job if that was a requirement. And I think there's various areas around the park. You know, if Kyogo struggled for some reason, Adam Ida comes in, Bernardo's off it, Reo Hatate comes in, and so on and so forth. We're obviously covering all the goals just now, Greg. We've covered the 3 in the first half. We'll catch the next 3 just shortly. But I want to take a second to talk about Austin Trusty. Again, he was a guy that got a bit of criticism, got a bit of stick, far too much stick for my liking, for the performance against Falkirk. But he's come in last night. He showed strength. He showed a bit of pace. He showed composure on the ball. And again, with all respect to St Johnstone, we will face tougher tasks, but he had a very assured performance last night.
I think that's the word. Absolutely spot on. He was very assured. I thought he was aggressive, went and won his headers, went and won his tackles, looked comfortable in the ball. Again, it just takes time. He's going to be a wee bit rusty, isn't he? Just coming in last week. And yeah, I thought he was really good last night. He's desperately unlucky with the Varkle. I mean, I don't know what he can do there. He's not looking at the St Johnstone player. So yeah, I thought that was a very strange Varkle indeed. But no, I thought Trusty was really good, and I think he'll only get better as well, Tino.
I think so. Just with games, you know, there's only so much guys can do in training and getting 10 minutes, 20 minutes here. You need to be starting games and getting, you know, an hour under your belt and more. I think the time on the pitch against Falkirk, he got the full game, will have helped him. And I think then getting a full run last night certainly does him no harm. It remains to be seen. We'll touch on this towards the end of the piece. It very much remains to be seen if Carter Vickers will make Dortmund. I think it sounds unlikely from the chat, but you never know. There can be mind games and different things going on. But I think if he has to slot in, then I'm not as worried as I might have been a few weeks ago about anything like that. On you go.
No, I was going to say I tend to agree. I don't know about Vickers. I thought it might have just been a case of just leaving him out yesterday, giving him as much time as possible. I think if there's a chance he will play on Tuesday, but I'm the same as you. If Trusty has to come in, I would have been more concerned before last night's performance. But yeah, no, you look very assured, and that will do the world good for his confidence as well if he comes in on Tuesday.
Yeah, San Fran says that Trusty plays with an edge, and I like it. He's quite lively at corners. You know, he's quite physical. The Varkle, we don't have too much time to dwell on it. What can he do? It's the lad Graham Carey runs into him. There's a bit of pace. It's an unfortunate collision, but it's through no fault of Trusty. And it's a hell of a finish, actually, by Maeda. It's a shame that one.
Wonderful finish.
But you also Trusty in the second half. He broke forward. He took a ball in the chest, and you seen that he just had one thing on his mind, and he's taking it on the volley. I don't know, 25 yards out. It's not that far away as well. So I quite like what I've seen from him so far, and excited to see. Of course, we'd love to have Carter Vickers back as well, but we'll see how it all plays out. 10 minutes into the second half, and listen, the game is done at 3-0, but it's absolutely done at 4. And it's Callum McGregor, and I think it's his 4th of the season. And goals was something that had fallen out of his game, Greg, over the last couple of seasons. You know, he very much anchored himself at that number 6 and done a very good job at it. But it's clear there's been something or some sort of tweak that's allowed him to, you know, make those strides forward. And he certainly at this moment in time has a real thing for picking up the ball in that kind of inside right area, getting out his feet and just cracking it with his left foot. And when you watch it, there's a view from behind the goal of this one. It's such a clean strike, and the keeper's got no chance.
No, you're absolutely right, and nice to see it from a short corner as well. The boys were moaning about that last night, these short corners, but we eventually got a goal out of it. I think Rodgers alluded to it. It's more fluid in the middle of the park, which is allowing McGregor to go forward a wee bit more. And I think Engels can drop into that number 6 position, allow McGregor to go forward. But yet, I don't know if it's any coincidence. It's been roughly the same position he scored his goals from. But it's a great strike. And yeah, as you say, kind of lost goals out his game for a wee while, but nice to see him scoring again. And he's just another player who's just absolutely flying. He's an absolute class act.
He is. So not long after that, around about 66 minutes, we make the changes, and it's 3. It's Engels goes off, Kyogo goes off, and Nicholas Kuhn, and Hatate, Ida, and Forrest come in. And at this moment in time, there's no downgrade. Historically, Celtic go to the bench and it's like, oh, we'll give him some minutes, and we'll see how it goes. Those three guys come in, and there's nothing like a game against Dortmund on a Tuesday night to motivate players. No one wants to come in and coast and just go through the motions. And I think bringing those three guys in, it is a real sign of the depth and the quality of Celtic squad. And for St Johnstone on Saturday night, but for everyone else domestically looking forward, it's pretty ominous when they look at what Celtic can offer.
Absolutely. Yeah, the fifth goal as well, it's Bernardo's wee touch just to get away from the kind of sliding tackle that's come behind him. And at that point, I think it's Johnson who's out right, who actually holds his run. It'd be really easy for Johnson to kind of cut in and narrow the angle, but he stays wide. That means the left back for St Johnstone doesn't know whether to stick with Johnson or towards the ball. It just gives that wee split second. It's that delivery again, the spinning delivery, bit of pace on it, and it's a fantastic header by Maeda. And if he misses it, Ida's behind him to put it in as well. So it was at that time, yeah, it's party time in the stadium behind, isn't it?
The challenge for St Johnstone is just that, there's so many players flooding forward, and if Maeda is a great header, by the way, great connection, but if Maeda doesn't do that, Adam Maeda will do the exact same. They just, at that point, they're all at sea. And to an extent, I feel for St Johnstone, they're obviously working with an interim manager just now. The players don't know what the future holds and who's coming in. But I wonder if it's St Johnstone, or you could have just inserted any team in there last night. I don't think anyone domestically can live with Celtic just now, so there's no shame. I think it's a guy, Andy Kirk, that takes the team just now. He's not expected to do anything, and if he keeps it anything less than a cricket score, he's doing well there. But I think at the moment, you're just catching Celtic at... Well, let me ask this question, and you messaged something last night. I'm finding it hard to remember a time in recent history when Celtic have been on better form. They're absolutely flying. Everyone to a man. The manager's in good form. The fans are in full voice. Everything seems to be in a good place just now. Can you remember any time when it was as good as this, say post 2000?
What a difference a year makes, eh? Yeah, no, absolutely. I think obviously the season under Ange, I think your dad posed the question on the last Celtic exchange, Rodgers or Ange, and by the current performances, for me, it's Brendan Rodgers. But no, the team is absolutely flying, and there's 5 different goal scorers last night. The last goal, all 3 subs are involved, as you've alluded to. It's the strength and depth of the bench is incredible, and yeah, I can't remember as on form a team I've seen in a while, and I thought last night the calibre of goals I've not seen that away from home for a long time. It's really exciting stuff, and we need to take that on to Europe though. And it was a great start, but we need to take that on to Tuesday night as well.
Definitely. And listen, before anyone goes berserk, I've said post 2000, that includes all the Martin O'Neill stuff and some other big nights and performances, under Lenny and Brendan Rodgers first time around. There's lots of good stuff in there. What I would say is Celtic fans have got a huge catalogue of brilliant performances to pick from over the last 24 years or so. We loved all the O'Neill stuff, but I'm just thinking, and I'm not getting caught up in recency bias, and I appreciate the level of opposition, but it's just so free-flowing and it's so effective, and there's goals everywhere. This is 20 goals scored in the league, Greg, and none conceded after 6 games. We've had 9 wins out of 9. There's a comment that come in. Let me see. It's from P. McLaughlin. He says, if we get a result on Tuesday, it's the best start to a season I've ever seen, I think. And do you know what? At this moment in time, Celtic are breaking records. I think Kasper Schmeichel's broken a clean sheet record now for league clean sheets at the start of a season. And the other records, if Celtic continue in this vein, there's other records that are going to tumble. So again, I'm going to go with it. As I say, people who dug me up recently, don't get carried away, calm down and all that stuff. I'm off. I'm away.
You have to get excited. If you're not excited at this, then what's the point in supporting Celtic or enjoying football? And as you say, I think there will be records to come. I know it's still early on, but 20 goals and Kasper Schmeichel, I'm not sure if he equalled the record last night or he broke it. I'm not sure. I think he might.
Bit of conflicting info online. He's either equalled it or just improved on the record.
Another great addition, and you think back to Joe Hart and how much we all love Joe Hart, and Schmeichel's come in and definitely an upgrade for me. But yeah, everybody's flying and everybody's in form, so it's great to see.
Brilliant.
And we've not even got to the 6th goal yet.
We'll get there. We'll get there just shortly. Good comment from Daniel. Daniel says Tuesday will be the acid test for this team. We couldn't be in better form, but this is another level, and he's absolutely right. But this is why Rodgers is on $3 million a year, and I think that's spot on. Brendan Rodgers had a dig last night. I don't know if you've caught it. I think it was in his press conference to the media away from the telly stuff, and he was basically saying that, not bad for a team that weren't playing well last year or that were turgid last year, something like that. he doesn't forget. He knows who's made all those comments. And he's now, you talk about the team being in the form of their life. Brendan Rodgers is in brilliant form. He's very in control. If he didn't know already, he's absolutely mastered the landscape up here. He knows what to say, when to say, how to get the best out of his players, and he's on as good a form as any. Let's get to the 6th goal, Greg. It's my favourite Celtic goal in a long, long time. Luke McCowan heavily involved. We spoke highly of him, and he's been doing great. Gets the ball on the edge of the box. He's had a couple of half chances before that. You're thinking, does he let loose? But he's got the culture just to lift over the top. To Alex Bailly, who's continued his run. You've got a left back who's essentially found himself somewhere around the penalty spot. That tells you everything about the Celtic going forward and how they do things. Bailly himself could have taken the touch and gone for glory, but such, I think, is the team spirit. He's just saw the opportunity to clip it into Adam Ida's path, but it's such a classy touch. And I love Greg Taylor, but I don't know if he's got that touch in his locker. Bailly has, and it's so good. And Adam Ida then just has to show the composure to dink it by the goalie. And then your elation is taken away right away because the flag goes up and you think, geez, we're going to lose out on such a beautiful goal. But without VAR, we don't get that goal. If it's just left to referees in the eye test, you maybe don't get that one. VAR, and it's taken stick at different times. VAR does its job here. Celtic get what, as I say, is one of the best goals I've seen us score in a long time.
Yeah, I know. I'm sitting smiling when you're talking about it. I'm still buzzing even thinking about it. And the fact that it is 3 subs, the pass is unbelievable. The timing of the run and the pass is incredible. And as you say, Bailly's facing away from the goal. I actually thought he was going to try and even take a touch and then get shot away. But as you say, little back heel, the quick thinking. But Ida still got a wee bit to do. Takes a nice touch and outside the foot just slots it in. And as you say, everybody's going crazy. Wonderful goal. And then the VAR check comes. But I was delighted it got given and delighted for Adam Ida as well that he's chipping in with goals. I think it's really important, and he obviously got a couple last week and today, so that'll be only good for his confidence. But yeah, what a magnificent goal. The second goal and the 6th goal for me tonight were really, really incredible finishes. Really good team goals as well.
Brilliant to see, and that's regardless of the opposition. You can say what you want about St Johnstone or anyone else. What Celtic are doing on the ball and the movement of Celtic's players, it's incredible to see. There's a few really positive things I want to highlight, obviously conscious of time, but there's some really good things across the board. You've seen the unity amongst the players when they were celebrating after the game. There's wee partnerships. Ida was talking to Kyogo. Brendan Rodgers was having a good chat with Schmeichel. Loads of good things. There's clearly a very united team spirit there. What I'd really like to see was Alistair Johnston taking the captain's armband. I think if he stays at Celtic, that is a future captain. It just suits him perfectly. When Callum Gregor goes off, it used to be Carter Vickers might have got it or Joe Hart might have got it. James Forrest was on the pitch at that time, and obviously he's long serving at Celtic. But Alistair Johnston got it, and I think he's a real, amongst many others actually, he's a real leader in that dressing room.
I'm a huge fan. Tino, absolutely huge fan. And I think this season, as you say, his relationship with Kuhn looks really positive down that right-hand side. He's so composed in the ball. He's aggressive in his tackles. Comes across like a really, really good guy as well off the park. And I totally agree with you. I think he could be a potential future captain. You just hope that nobody comes in with a crazy offer for him in the coming seasons. But yeah, I would tend to agree with you that the team spirit just now is incredible, and that comes from the manager. He looked very calm, he looks very composed, very confident, and that's getting through to the players. It's really, really evident. So it's great to see.
Yep, comment from Kaiser there saying that AJ is world class, and I hope we can hold on to him. And the chat is that we're looking to offer him an improved deal, and it's long overdue. I think he's been excellent since he hit the ground at Celtic. He's a couple of injuries to deal with. I remember him was at Hampden Park with his crutches celebrating a win over Rangers at one point. But he just fits in. His tenacity and his kind of spirit and his mentality fit perfectly with this team, and I do hope we can keep him here for a good few years to come. The other thing I can't not mention is Daisen Maeda in the 86th minute at 6-0 up, just breaking his neck to get from deep inside the St Johnstone half to chase a guy all the way down and win the ball. And do you know what? See, when he does it, he doesn't look around for praise and guys, look at me. He just jogs back up the park and gets on with it. From his point of view, he's just doing his job. That's him just doing his work. He's an incredible character, doesn't he?
He is, but again, that shows the players are buying into what Rodgers wants from them. He keeps on going on about this counter press and getting the ball back as soon as possible, and the players are buying into that. And as you say, 86 minutes, 6-0, you think you'd be just, if it was me, I would have left it. But Daisen Maeda's sprinting back there. He's sprinting back there, and yeah, he is a character, but it's all over the pitch. The pressing of when we've not got the ball is incredible, and other teams just cannot live with it just now.
Yeah, I think on and off the ball, as I say, the hard work is there to see. Whoever's got the ball is fine, but whether Celtic are on it or not, it's everyone else in the work that they're putting in. And I think the stats are out. I repeated the stat about Dice Maida. I think his trackers had him at 11.5 kilometres for that game against Bratislava last week. And I think that's an on. I don't think he cares if he's playing Bratislava, Borussia Dortmund, Belsau Juniors, whatever. He just does his job and gets on with it. And I think he epitomises this Celtic team. I think it's only in years to come we'll look back at Maida and think, what a guy we had there at that time. But he's a special player and he's part of a team, and he's got different attributes from everyone else. He doesn't have the skill of a Bernardo or an Engels. You know, he doesn't have the strength of maybe a Carter Vickers, but what he has is wholly unique to him, and I think it's great to see. Greg, we'll touch on it briefly. We've mentioned it a few times throughout the show, but as we're coming to the end of the piece here, Tuesday night, Dortmund, we can now fully focus on that, and Callum McGregor and Brendan Rodgers both spoke pre-match about the fact that you need to deal with it one game at a time. Cliche as it sounds, you need to deal with what's in front of you before you can look forward to the Tuesday nights in Dortmund. But now we can. You know, we're here recording on Sunday, a couple of nights away. From a fan point of view, it's a huge game to look forward to. But we've had big games in the past. We've played PSGs and Real Madrids and Barcelonas. And by and large, you go into those games very much more with hope than expectation. And I think now there is a level of expectation. And whether people want to chin me or you or anyone else about getting carried away, Brendan Rodgers is taking the expectation levels to a new level. And I think the players have very much played their part in that. I'm not saying we're going to go there and turn over a very decent Borussia Dortmund side who were in the Champions League final last year. But what we do have is a definite chance in this game. I think we've seen enough from Celtic this season with the additions that have been made and the way we're playing, that if we turn up in anything close to top form, there's certainly a chance that we can get a result, whether that's a draw or a win. Someone asked the question, I'll try and dig it out. Would you take a draw just now, or do you think we should just go for it and take the shackles off?
We'd take a draw. I think a draw would be a really good result out there. As much as we're all looking at a really informed Celtic side and we're getting really excited by it, there's not many of us that wouldn't take a draw out there, I don't think. But it's nice just to go into these games, as you say, we're playing Dortmund. A couple of seasons ago, we would all be thinking, oh my goodness, this could be any number. But we're actually going into it with a bit of expectation. And I think if we go out there, why couldn't we go and get a draw, and why not even try and sneak a win out there? And it's so refreshing, and it just shows you where the players are, where the managers are. But if you're going to offer me a draw for Tuesday night, I would definitely take it. It's a bit of a free hit the next two games, to be honest, but there's no reason that we can't go. And even if we were to get a couple of draws or one win out of two games, it sets up really nicely to go on, because our home games are quite favourable after that. So yeah, I think if you offer me a point, I'd take it now, Tino.
Yeah, I think there's a comment from William on screen, William Doyle. He says he'd be very happy with a draw at Dortmund, and I think a lot of folks would agree with that. I think, as you say, though, you do have this free hit situation as much as you can ever get a free hit in football, but we've got Dortmund away, we've then got Atalanta away later in October, and then it is the home game against Leipzig. And I think certainly on paper, those games, which is Matchday 2, 3 and 4 in our Champions League campaign, they are the toughest games. And if we can get anything, so Paddy, for example, he said he'd be delighted with 3 points out of 9 there. And obviously Leipzig is a home game, and that gives you a different opportunity. But I think the fact that it is, quote unquote, a free hit, you're not expected to beat Dortmund, does that in itself maybe give the players an extra freedom? You know, they can express themselves knowing that, listen, if you don't win, it's not a disaster. Go for it. You know, it's not as tight as it was with the 6-game format in the Champions League. You've now got these 8 fixtures to get some points on the board, and that might allow Celtic to just go out there and continue playing in the same fashion they have been.
I think it takes the shackles off them. I think it really does. I think it just allows them to go out there. The team are so confident just now that there is no pressure on them. So I think they can go and express themselves. It's a stage for these guys, especially like Engels, come with a big reputation. He'll want to prove himself on that stage as well. So no, I think that the players are going. I think we will have a go at Dortmund as well. I don't think we'll just sit in. I think we're going to have a go at them, and I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I can't wait either. We need to work out. We've got a few shows coming up this week. We've obviously got the weekly show as always tomorrow, Monday night. We need to fit in a pre-match for Dortmund somewhere, and it's looking likely it might be Tuesday morning. Paddy's heading out there early bells tomorrow, Monday, with a crowd. So we'll work that out. But keep an eye on our socials for when that's going to be. Just a last comment actually from Mazar. Mazar, good friend of the show. Really excited about getting into this big game versus a top European team. and he's going for 3-2 Celtic. And I think we'd all bite the hand off for that, Greg. Greg, brilliant to have you on. Great to have you on for your first appearance on the show, and hopefully it's the first of many. What's your final comments as we head into another exciting week for Celtic?
I know it's just Celtic in a great place. The fans are all buzzing. We're buzzing to be in the Champions League, flying in domestically as well. So it's just, as I say, I think I said it earlier in the show, what a difference a year makes. And I'm absolutely loving it. Can't wait for Tuesday. But
Brilliant,
thank you
mate.
again for having us on. It's been long overdue, Tino, and thoroughly enjoyed it. What a post match to get a 6-0 win.
Spot on, mate. Nobody can accuse you of being a glory hunter, eh? Big thanks to Greg. Big thanks to everyone who continues to join us in the live. We've got Monty, San Fran, Kaiser, 420, Mazar, loads of guys, William, P. McLaughlin, and thanks as always for your ongoing support. Thanks to, of course, to those who continue to listen to us in the podcast format. As I say, we'll be back tomorrow, Monday night, with the weekly show. Somewhere after that, we'll get a pre-match for Dortmund. Then we'll get the post-match to talk about the 3-2 win. But in the meantime, folks, enjoy your weekend. We'll